Hello, welcome to LA. That is Beverly Hills on a rainy day. We've got lots of rain today. Anyway, obviously, from what I've told you at the headline there, we're going to talk about something really critical. I've said this in several of these mini workshops, and we're going to take our time today because we're going to study one of the best singers of the 21st century, a short portion of Adele's Hello. And we're going to talk about why vocal technique is not the main thing that we really need to be talking about. We need to be talking about phrasing, rhythm, and emotion. Vocal technique is great. I'm a vocal technique coach, and it really helps with a lot of things, and it does help stars get out of situations, but it does not help them become stars. This is critical to your career. If you don't know this, if you don't understand it, you're never really going to get what's important here, and that is the phrasing. So I'm going to add something just briefly here in the comments so that you know the program that I'm talking about. Let's see here. Okay, let me take a second. You know, if you're doing something, make sure you get comfortable. If you don't have time to get comfortable, come back and watch it later. But we're going to take some time here because I can't emphasize enough how critical this is to your career as a singer or rapper. Actually, musicians in general, producers, the ones that do really, really well in this industry, follow the principles that I'm going to talk about today because that's generally where I learned it from. People who have produced multi-platinum records over their entire lifetimes are the people that I'm helping you with understand. So this link right here, Best Singing and Rapping, check it out after you listen to me for a while. Check it out and notice how much it's going to help you with your career because vocal technique isn't going to cut it. I do not have a vocal technique program, video or otherwise, app for you because singers are blind, and if you try to use vocal technique to make yourself better off of a program, you're going to get in trouble. One of my famous clients got a nodule from working with one of my friends, ex-friends, I'd say now, programs that he thought would help him, and instead it just caused him a nice big polyp. And he had to have surgery by Dr. Zeitels. That's not cheap, I'm telling you, because that is one great surgeon. But that's what's necessary in this industry. You've got to take great care of yourself. But let's get back to what I really want to tell you about. The people that you listen to have what the industry calls a feel. More specific, an emotional expression. In rhythm, it's again back to rhythmic feel, which is great for dancing music. You know, if you like to really dance, you know, Justin Bieber's got the beat there going in his voice. Rihanna's got the beat there going in his voice. Whether they have emotional expression or not, it's kind of an opinion. But they definitely have attitude. It's called the swagger these days. A little bit similar to the big band days with swing. If you didn't have that feel, you couldn't really get across to people. And the swagger is important in today's dance music. Now, Adele is really a colorful artist. She sings everything from straight emotion. So emotions are causing everything that we're going to talk about today. The writing, she claims that when she writes, it's a one-time thing. In other words, she only starts at the beginning and doesn't finish to the end. There's my link if you missed it. It's right there in the comments. And I'm going to ask you guys to ask me questions or answer questions as we go. I'd like this to be a little bit more interactive. I always get along with people better if I'm talking to them rather than talking at them, which is the new way of doing things. But I've been doing this for about 45 years, and I'm used to real people. So it'd be great if you would help me out in that respect. I did see one of my old friends, Robert Beals, joined us. Thank you, buddy. Good to see you. Now, let's get down to brass tacks. I'm going to play a recording of Hello by Adele. I'm just going to play a couple of bars, and I'm going to explain to you one of the main things that makes her unique is the fact that even though the melody of the first half of this verse and the second half of the verse is extremely similar, we're going to notice that there's a lot of differences in how she communicates, how she feels it, what she's talking about. And of course, the lyrics from the writing also change the phrasing. So if you're a songwriter, you really want to be involved in this too. I should have put that in here. Let me put in here in the comments, songwriters, welcome. Okay, there we go. Come on, guys, join us. Enter. All right. There's so many applications to this, to what I'm talking about today. Okay, let's see here. Can I edit that? Yeah, let me edit that. I should have said songwriters. Vocal coach, not a typist. Okay, here we go. Fixed. All right, great. Good to see beatmakers on here. All right. So just let me play this for you. But let me make a demonstration first. I don't really like to plan things too far ahead because I want things to be kind of spontaneous so that you know that I'm actually talking to you without a script. I've thought this through. It's my whole life, but I haven't thought it through in the way sometimes people think you need to think it through, meaning that I don't have an exact plan of what I'm going to say. I want this to be really exciting and fun for you. Okay, so I'm going to play Hello with her singing. And I'm going to show you the biggest mistake even great singers quite often make. Where are you? Hello. I know you're in here. Hello. Here we go. Here it is. All right. All right. Here it comes. Okay. So here's the biggest mistake we make that musicians, by the way, rarely make, which is very interesting. They usually will really study what they're going to play, really find out what the great is doing, down to the little inflections and so forth. But even good singers do this. So I'm going to sing along with her like I haven't really learned that much about it. I'm just kind of thinking, hey, I'm getting this down. And but I'm not going to sing bad like I did in some of the other videos. Here we go. All right. This is probably the karaoke version. Let me check here.
It's me.
No, there we go. I got it. Okay, that's just the one that has all this stuff in front of it. Okay, here we go. We are ready. Check this out. This is what most of us do. Hello, it's me. I was wondering about you. Years you'd like to meet, to go over everything. They say the time will heal all wounds, but they're not healing me. So you see, I got the lyrics wrong because, again, I'm not really listening. I'm just singing along. Okay, so let's open this up for a second. Did anybody kind of get what I just said? Could you hear that okay? You can type in the comments box. Okay. I know we've got a few comments here. Let me check this out. Where is the comments box? Yes. Okay, great, great. So you hear how I sang kind of over her, right? Because I'm doing my singing to the point that I don't really know what she's doing. Now, the opposite can be true, where you turn her up too loud. Yeah, I know, I was a little off key. That's the whole, that's exactly right. Now, when I do the example, later on, I won't be off key because I'm not singing it like, I was trying to sing that like I don't know the song, which is a lot of people do. You hear them practicing with other singers, you hear they are off key. Now, the other problem that happens, and this is going to be even more off key, is when the music is so loud that I'm just entertaining myself. So, and I missed words too. Did you catch that? Of course, I'm just giving an example. Yep. Okay. So yeah, right. It's an example of what not to do. It's not an example of what to do. It's an example of what not to do. So here's where the music is like really loud, and I'm trying to keep up. So what I'm doing is that I'm being entertained by her. Hello, it's me. I was wondering if after all these years you'd like to meet, to go over everything.
They say the time is supposed to heal you, but I ain't know much healing. Hello.
Yeah, really, stop. Okay, that's what it says on the video. Okay, how do you stay on key and sing a song in your own range? Okay, my software program, and you check it out, go go up the comments section, you'll see it. Here, I'll put it in again. Let's see, where can I comment now, guys? Anyway, it's right there. It'll show you how to change the key and stay in key. And also, it'll help you master your ear, because you're going to actually double check yourself and make sure that you're with her, so that it's not just an accident. Okay, all right. So that's the bad version. Here's the good version. Now I'm singing in unison with her, and what I want you to notice is how I learned from her was by mimicking every little detail. Check it out. Here we go.
Hello, it's me. I was wondering if after all these years you'd like to me to go over everything. They say the time is supposed to heal you, but I ain't done much healing.
Okay. Everybody hear that okay? Give me a thumbs up or something. Let me know if you want my voice louder or hers louder. Okay, I'll move on. Now, the difference between the first section and the second section is not really obvious. And that's what I'm going to show you here. So the key on this song, of course, is the very first line where she says hello. Notice how straight and speech-like it is.
Hello.
You see how simple that is? Hello. I mean, it's like, you don't even wonder if she's in key. Okay, thanks, Ken. Appreciate you communicating with me here. Love talking to people, not at them, as I mentioned earlier. Okay, so that very first line, most people go, hello, or something sing-songy. I get a lot of clients come in here, they're doing cover songs, and it's Yoshi. Okay. Yeah, speaking voice, Yoshi, right. Okay. It's great to notice this thing, because if you don't sing it this way, you can't get the attention that she's getting. Now, I'm not saying you want to sing exactly like her. Maybe you're an artist and you want to do your own thing. I understand that. But where do we learn from? We learn from the greats. And again, the reason I picked Adele on this particular one, I've done a pop singer, I've done a rapper, I've done another pop singer who was a little more complex, but Adele is extremely complex. Now, we've heard the first line. Check out the second line. There you go.
It's me.
Again, very simple, but a little bit more sophisticated than it was last time. Listen.
Hello.
That's the simple one. Here you go.
It's me.
You see? Again, just a titch of vibrato there. It's me. She's very, very sad. It's very important to notice that all this is coming from her emotions. She's very, very sad on this line. All right. The vibrato. Yep. It actually, because it's kind of slow and heavy, it actually expresses her crying. It's like when we talk like this. Hello. Rather than a classical hello, fast, so-called, well, it is a healthy vibrato, but it doesn't express the right emotions. And this is what I want to talk about. Expressing the right emotions the right way. All right. We just had a new person join. I'm going to play this for you, Philip. The notes choice. Yeah, Dean. Okay. How you doing, Dean? So we're just taking a look at Adele here and figuring out why she's so great so that we can learn from her. Because you can't learn from a voice teacher what I'm teaching you here. You can't even learn it from me. I could have just played me singing it and said, hey, check me out, listen to me. And I've seen that on YouTube, but that's not the right way to do it. You've got to learn from her. And my program will teach you how to do this. It's just up here a little bit. Let me show you. It's right there again. Okay, best singing, rapping. Just click on that anytime you feel like it, and it'll show you how. But what I was pointing out here is how simple Adele's first attack is in the song.
Hello, it's me.
Okay, and the second one, again, very, very simple. It's me. Okay, let me go back to here. All right. Coming down so I can see what you guys are saying. Okay, more joiners, great. It's hard to learn emotion. Actually, that's true, and I have to teach that on a one-on-one basis, and I do teach emotion on a one-on-one basis. And the principle behind that is connecting you to the storyline. If it's your storyline, it's easier. If you're the songwriter, it's easier. But if you're doing, say, Adele's song, then what we want to do is either, if you really want to sound like Adele, then we'll connect you to what you think she's feeling. If you want to do your own version, then we'll connect you to what you're feeling about these lyrics. And I go through a process, and it's a weekly thing, kind of like voice lessons. And I do usually work technique at the same time, because if you don't have both, you're missing something. Okay, let's go back up here where I can see what I'm doing on this. Okay. Move this over. All right. Okay. Now, the next section has a little bit more of a riff to it. But again, if you listen very carefully, it's not as strict as it might sound.
I was wondering if after all these years you'd like to meet.
So again, that could have been sung, boring, right? So again, listen to her and listen to the inflections, and I'll show you what I'm talking about.
I was wondering if after all these years you'd like to meet.
Okay, one of the things is when she says, I was, there's no vibrato. Then when she says, I was wondering, now the vibrato starts. I'm pretty sure that's right. Let me check.
I was wondering if after
Oh, it's after, yeah. So I was, no vibrato, after, no vibrato. And again, I think that's how she feels it. She's an improvisationalist. If you listen to this on a live show, you'll notice it's not quite the same. So this is what's driving this is her emotions, not somebody's phrasing. Producer doesn't go in there and tell Adele how to phrase. Check it out.
I was wondering if after all these years you'd like to meet. To go.
Now, right there at the end where she says the word meet, she doesn't pronounce the T. It's just me. So you think she's saying me, but what she's actually doing, or what's creating our interest, is it's leaving a very slight space before the next phrase. So I'm going to let the next phrase come in. So as you notice, when she says me, no T, very small space, and then she puts a T into the next word.
I was wondering if after all these years you'd like to meet. To go over.
See, so me. To go over, that made it a lot more speech-like, a lot more interesting. So we're trying to stay with what's interesting here and what's different. Let's see here. Now, as she moves on to go over, when she just said to go over, that melody is very similar to hello. It's right on the same beat. To go over. So again, she's changed it so that we haven't lost interest. If she had said, to go over, it would have been too similar to the first one. So again, the meaning is what we're following here. We're not really talking so much about her phrasing, even though that's one way to communicate. We're really mostly talking about the emotions and how it's causing that, and how my program will help you learn that, because this is far more important than vocal technique. All right. So now she goes, to go over, and then the next line is kind of like the first line, but again, it's different.
To go over everything.
You see, so there's more there. There's a little longer word, everything, and then she has that little scoop up at the end. And another thing to notice here is that one of the things that most all modern singers do now is they do a lot of scooping. A lot of voice teachers will tell you not to do that. And sometimes there's a good reason, but don't take it so literally. It's fine to scoop up on notes if you do it well. If it's causing you to strain, then that's another reason to talk about it. All right, so to go over everything. So she's changed things. Now, the next line, let me play it for you.
To go over everything.
Okay, now this line here.
They say that time is supposed to heal ya, but I ain't done much healing.
So right there, it's kind of the same pattern. Ba-da-da-da-da-da-da-da, ba-da-da-da-da-da-da. But it's different. She's got different words, and you can't believe somebody would call me right now. That's all right. I'll get back to him. Send him a message. Okay. So the pattern here is different, and I'll show you where it's different. The first line, let's check it back again.
I was wondering if after all these years you'd like to meet.
Okay, second line.
They say that time is supposed to heal ya.
See, that's different, even there. Again, back to the original.
I was wondering if after all these years you'd like to meet.
Oh, we have a question about scooping. I'll get back to that in a minute. Okay, now let's play the second one. And notice the rhythm difference.
They say that time is supposed to heal ya.
And again, the vibrato she used different. They say the time, no vibrato, is supposed to heal, no vibrato, yeah. And where she scoops is different as well. Let's go back to listen to the first one.
I was wondering if after all these years you'd like to meet.
Now there's kind of a roll to that. But in the second one, it's a little bit different.
They say that time is supposed to heal ya.
So she held out time longer. They say time's supposed to heal. So she went over the bar and then caught back up. And then again, this is really common in modern phrasing. This is what we love, and it keeps us listening and wanting more. Listen again to the second one.
They say that time is supposed to heal ya, but I ain't done much healing.
Now the question was like, what's a riff and what's scooping? When she's scooping, she goes, da 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 da. That's scooping. It's like kind of going almost to the note below it, but not quite, and then coming back up. And it's what we do when we speak. When I'm talking to you, you see that's natural inflections for English, especially American. The riffing, I'm going to show you, she does two, I think it was in this line, it's two different riffs, but she goes, that's more like a riff, like two quick notes.
They say that time is supposed to heal ya.
You see? Heal ya. And actually, there's three notes there, but she's going so fast you can't hear them. That's a riff. Check it out again.
They say that time is supposed to heal ya, but I ain't done much healing.
And there she drops out. Done much healing. Hey, Lonnie. Man, I haven't seen you for a while. Good to see you here. Lonnie and I are Grammy members together. Okay. Let's open this up for a few questions. Now, I mentioned the riffing. Let's see if he had another question. I notice sometimes I have to click on this. Oh, thanks, Twyla. Is that how you say it? Twyla? Good info. Thank you. And yeah, it was mentioned earlier that it's hard to learn emotion. That's not really true. It's not hard to learn emotion. Thanks for all the likes, you guys. You do have to know a procedure, though, and I have figured one out, and I do teach it privately. Again, if you use the program, I do talk about the fact that you can start to listen for what drives the phrasing. So I'm going to play the whole thing again for you. I'm going to use just her again. Let me open that file rather than you hearing the two of us. Okay, I think this, no, that won't open. All right, new. Need a new one. Okay. And file. Recents. Oh, there we go. Okay. All right. I hope you're sitting back and relaxing and enjoying all this. Okay. So I'm going to play just her. There's a theme here that is very similar to almost everything Adele does. Listen very carefully to the words and what she's saying and why.
Hello, it's me. I was wondering if after all these years you'd like me to go over everything. They say the time's supposed to heal you, but I ain't done much healing.
Now, frankly, when I listened to that, and I was really working on it, I was kind of getting depressed myself. Notice how her sadness affects the phrasing. She tends, not always, but quite often, she tends to drag. Listen again. Really, guys, really need to learn this.
Hello, it's me. I was wondering if after all these years you'd like me to go over everything.
There's another phrase here, yeah. They say that time is supposed to heal you. Let me have you listen to that. But again, listen to the flow of the line and the vibrato.
Hello,
it's all about being sad.
It's me. I was wondering if after all these years you'd like me to go over everything. They say the time's supposed to heal you, but I ain't done much healing.
So right there, she just kind of falls apart. Healing. And then the next line, again, she changes it. Hello. But I didn't want to go that far. The idea is if we had, 6 hours or something, I would take you through the whole entire song. Now, I didn't use this particular song on my program, but you can use any song you want. Once you learn how it flows and what the thought process is, you can do it. It's not that hard. But it does take time and it does take interest. If you really want to be a great singer, then you got to pay your dues. There's a saying in the music industry, you got to pay your dues. What does that mean? That means you got to put your time into it. It's not just learning. It's not just going to class and writing out notes and listening to the teacher. It's experience. It's really talking to people. It's getting out and performing. Most people who perform well in the studio perform well live. That's what makes them so they can perform well live in the studio, is the fact that they are performing live. And I have a saying about that. If you pay your dues will pay you back. So when you listen to great singers, their dues are paying them back. And there is not any overnight stuff. That's all media. The media is not the reality here. The reality is, how do we succeed? How do we get audiences? How do we get fans? How do we get a manager? How do we get a great recording contract? How do we sell 1 million copies? How do we get multi-platinum records? How do we do that? You've got to put in your time. And of course, you got to do it right. And that's what I'm here to help you do, is to do it the right way. So that 10 years from now, you go, oh, Brad, I'm so glad I worked with you. I have people contacting me 30 years ago. Oh, man, I've been using your recordings. I've been using your principles, and, I'm singing better than ever, and blah, 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 blah. I love to hear that stuff. When I was 30, I wasn't old enough to hear that stuff, but now I've got the white hairs to prove it. Any questions? Love to see some questions. Just type it in the comments. Wow, I guess I've done a great job. You've figured it all out. Okay, so I'll show you one more time. Let me click here and roll this down so you can see where to go. Do I recommend smiling when recording? No, not unless you're happy. Okay, so in other words, if you're smiling just because, then you're not producing anything. You're just doing something fake. I want to heal you. It's like, imagine Adele. Hello, it's me. No, 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 don't. Yeah, don't do that. Now, if the song is happy, hello, hey, it's me, then fine, smile. But don't do it as a technique. As a technique, you lock yourself into one feel and one emotion. That's not really, that's not what these people do. In fact, most of them are not trained. And even if they've had vocal coaches, most of them it's been vocal therapy because they've lost their voice for some reason or another, or they couldn't hit a certain note, or a vocal coach was called in because the singer lost their voice, and, you know, things like that. Okay, Lonnie. Lonnie made a great comment here. Love the way that she pulls back on some of the lines, tails and pushes others, really drive the in the moment, yes, emotion, as if she's experiencing at that very moment. You know what, Lonnie, I'll take you, that's great comment. I'll take you one further. She is experiencing it. She is in the moment. She hasn't memorized this and then it's just doing it. This is in the moment stuff. You know, if you listen to a lot of Adele stuff, and I'm not saying you have to be a lover of hers, but if you listen carefully, every word is in the moment. That's what makes her great. She never loses anybody. She's always in the moment. It's all organic. There's a saying in the recording industry that if you're a phony and you release a record, or you get on stage and you don't mean what you're saying, most modern audiences will feel that within 5 to 15 seconds. And once they felt that, they will just turn you off. Now, that's not true for what I call manufactured pop, because that's dance music, and that's a whole different world. It's not to insult anybody, but I call it cartoon music, because it's manufactured very specifically to get a very specific effect on a very young audience. Is there anything wrong with that? No. Is there anything wrong with cartoons? No. They're just making their music for that particular group of people. And so Adele, even though she covers everybody, even though the young kids do like her, she doesn't offer what Justin Bieber offers. So they both do what their thing, and they're both fine at it. Rihanna's been around for a long time now. I was just reading 25 years, and she just, you know, she keeps her audience going, but she does do it more like acting. She is coached on exactly how to sing. She's coached on exactly how to sing. It's not that off the top of the head stuff, and that's one of the reasons they have to lip sync when they do shows, is because it's got to sound exactly like the record. Some people are upset about that. Other people think it's the best thing that ever happened. Frankly, people are on auto-tune a lot. You know, in the rapping world, I'm kind of liking it because it's really, usually it's not auto-tune, it's called Melodyne. But when they shift the pitches and make a melody out of the rap, I like that. It makes it a lot more interesting. All right, well, it looks like there's no more questions. This has been a long session, longest one I've done. Anytime you want to share this, you can come back and watch it anytime you want. Appreciate all the comments and everybody being here. And next time, I'm going to do one on country. Yeah, check it out. I'm not a country artist, but they are very interesting in what they do as well, especially the modern country, because it is coming over to pop. If you go to the Billboard Top 100 charts, a lot of artists in the thanks for liking that idea. A lot of the artists in the 50 and below are country singers. So it is a big part of modern culture. So don't write it off like we used to when it sounded so twangy. All right. Take care, y'all. See you next time. Loved it. Bye-bye. Be sure and check out my program. It'll help. I guarantee it.